Alright, so I'm going to tell you why Captain America Civil War is going to be better than Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, or Superman v Batman, whichever way it's supposed to be. So if you don't know, both these movies are coming out the same year, and they're both movies where superheroes are going to fight each other. So I think it's a good decision to compare, and I think I can bring up my ideas of which one will be better and why. And yes, Civil War will be better. I'll tell you why. So for three main reasons, Civil War is going to be better: the build-up, the cast, and the actual combatants that'll be fighting. I think that's where it's going to beat it. So to start with the build-up, we'll start with DC. They've only had one movie in their universe so far, Man of Steel, which was, I mean, I think it is the best Superman movie to date, but that's not saying a lot. If you watch the Richard Donner movies now, they're not that good. I think a lot of people watch them with nostalgia goggles on. And yeah, I mean, it was a decent movie, but it seems like, DC's just going to be blowing their load too quickly with this movie. We barely understand this Superman, and now they're going to introduce us to this Batman. So within the span of the movie, we got to find out what kind of Batman this is. Who is this Batman? I mean, obviously it's Bruce Wayne, but like, what are his motives? What kind of Batman he is? Every person that's played it's played him differently. So within this movie, we got to find out who this Batman is. We got to find out why he doesn't like Superman. Obviously, it's not going to be just a movie fighting each other. There's going to be a big bad somewhere in there, probably brought on by Lex Luthor. So, they've got to fight, then come together and fight this one big bad. And it's all going to be in one movie. And it's going to be lacking, I think. There's not going to be enough time to spend on any of those to really flush any of that out. What was I gonna say? It kind of reminds me of Rise of the Silver Surfer movie, where we're kind of promised that the Fantastic Four were gonna fight the Silver Surfer and then team up, and I mean, there really wasn't a fight, and I don't think we're really going to get a Superman Batman fight per se. I don't see it happening. On the other hand, this will be, by the time Captain America Civil War comes out, that'll be the 13th movie that Marvel has made in their universe. 4 of them will have Cap in them, 5 of them would have had Iron Man in them, and 2 of them where those two have interacted together. So we know what their motives are. We know how they're going to react. We know what they think of each other between the 2 movies they've reacted with each other. We know their motives. They're not going to have to spend as much time on that. It gives us a stronger story to spend on that instead of introducing characters. Speaking of characters, on the cast side, Batman, Superman is pretty much promised us Wonder Woman, Flash, and Aquaman all in this movie as well. So on top of everything I explained before, now we got to introduce these characters. I don't know how big of a plot they'll have within there, but again, it just seems like they're jamming way too much into this movie, and it's starting to sound a little ridiculous. So now we're gonna have even less time because now we got to introduce these other characters that we have no idea who they are. It's gonna be ridiculous. On the other hand, on Marvel's side, we have War Machine or the Iron Patriot, Falcon, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Thor, Ant-Man, Hulk, Black Panther, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch, all to pick from for side characters. If you know the Civil War storyline, it's kind of a split between the Marvel Universe, and each side, each hero kind of picks a side. So these will be, characters that they can use and make them pick sides and, really bring out this battle. And we've all seen all these we'll have seen movies with all these characters in it except for Black Panther. So we'll know who these characters are too. They won't have to spend as much time. Hawkeye appears, we know it's Hawkeye. It's going to be a stronger battle that way. And then with the actual combatants themselves, I think that's where it's going to come down to. Batman versus Superman is way too one-sided depending on how you look at it. I always get that question, from people that want to try and relate to my comicness, or people attempting to be nerds, not to be too hipsterish about it, but and it's like, who would win, Batman or Superman? And it depends. If Batman has time to prepare, then Batman wins. If they just met on the street, Superman wins. Batman or Superman has weaknesses, but they're really easily exploited. The best way I like to say is he's like, an 8-bit video game boss, where once you learn his pattern, he's easy to beat. Once you get kryptonite, that's it. So if Batman pops out kryptonite, bam, Batman wins. On the other hand, if they just randomly met in the street, and Batman wasn't prepared, bam, Superman punches his face and he's dead, and that's it. It seems like a ridiculous battle, and honestly not one I've wanted to see, to be honest. If they have an actual fight, I still don't think we're gonna really see them actually fight. Remember that. On the other hand, Iron Man versus Captain America is a way more interesting battle. Captain has his strategy, his indestructible shield. Iron Man has all his technology, but he has the weakness of not having very much, battle past or experience. So that's gonna cause him some issues against Captain. But Captain doesn't have the technology. It's going to be balanced. It's going to be interesting. If they follow the comic exactly, we kind of know sort of who wins. They kind of left it a little bit open. In the other hand, too, with the actual combatants, Batman and Superman, I don't think it doesn't matter who wins if they even have a battle. Because, like I said, there's probably going to be some big bad guy in the end that they're going to have to team up together to fight. Where if they do the movie like the comic for Civil War, the whole movie's based on those two fighting. And the outcome is based on their fighting. There shouldn't be another bad guy. It is just going to be Captain America and Iron Man beating each other. I mean, obviously not the entire movie, but I think makes a stronger story that way. Another thing I kind of want to bring up is they seem to be trying to tie this movie, the Batman Superman movie, to Batman or Dark Knight Returns, which is a good graphic novel. I enjoyed it, but if they're trying to relate it to Man of Steel, that doesn't fit with that graphic novel. It just seems like they're paying fan service, basically. They just want, everyone likes that story, so let's bring in that story. And that's where I feel DC's lacking, is they're reacting instead of setting standards. They're reacting to fan standards, and I think it's going to end up hurting them in the end. So not to completely bash DC, because I do think there are some good things that'll happen from this. From what it sounds like, and hopefully they keep it this way, is that Superman isn't the beginning of the DC universe. It sounds like what they're going to do is have, things have been going on for a while before Man of Steel hit. So, we've been told this is an older Batman, more into his career, being that the next movie after that, I believe, is Suicide Squad, which is all pre-existing villains put into a team. So I think it'd be kind of interesting to see a backwards version of the Marvel universe, where things have been going on and we're being introduced to it all, things that have already happened. And that's kind of an interesting way to. I think if they keep it that way, it could be interesting. My worry is that Batman Superman will take place years after Man of Steel, and that would be lame and kind of a cop-out. So yeah, and the other good thing of this the Batman Superman is I don't think Marvel was really planning to do Civil War this early, but I think them doing this movie is pushing Marvel. And now that DC is finally getting a plan into movies, it's going to be a good thing for all fans of movies and comic book movies. These two companies are going to be pushing each other now, and it's going to be interesting and hopefully a real good time. It's competition's going to breed them to be you know really try and shoot for the top. So that's what I think is going to happen. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this.